She is now one of the biggest ambassadors of Bosnia in Hollandia. Don't speak any bad word about Bosnia-Herzegovina because my mother will
rip your throat.
Yeah, absolutely. And she did it on certain occasions. We're like reaching a point in which a lot of people start to return slowly and diaspora. She told me 60 years, she said, will you never give up telling that story? And that really exploded in my soul. Sorry for it, I don't want to sound cheesy, but that's what it is. It's Bosnian, isn't it? And that's what pushed me to start making Tražite as a stage production because of her. I'm learning Bosnian, ali pričati je teško, so that's why we agree upon doing it in English, but I really have to make a big effort for it and give me 2 years and sve će biti u redu. I was born in Amsterdam in 1982. My parents took me to the wonderful city of Almere, which is like 30 kilometers next to Amsterdam. And I spent my childhood years there, going to high school. And that was where I first encountered Bosnian people in general, because when I went to high school, I had a lot of refugee, or we had a lot of refugee children in our classes. And we became friends. They used to talk a little bit about their stories, but not too much, because there was a lot of trauma, of course, and they just went on with their lives and they wanted to go forward. But we thought we would hear some stories and that we would know something about what happened back here in the 1990s, but we all moved on at a certain moment. I remember quite vividly spending my holidays here for 2 weeks in Sarajevo, 2015, exploring the city, meeting the people, and something happened with me. I think if I look at it in retrospective, that I somehow, that my soul really, I don't want to sound cheesy, but my soul found refuge here in Bosnia, and I really connected with the way of living and the people in general and the soul of the country.
Čime si se bavio u Holandiji, šta si radio, čega si živio, koju si školu završio?
I'm a theater director, a writer, an actor, and a columnist. I went to Amsterdam to study, did my master's degree at the University of Amsterdam. I was always like connected to the theater. I felt at home. It was a way of living, and in the end I started to make productions. I started to act in productions, sing also, and then at a certain moment when you go to study and become a director, you also have to study dramaturgy, etc. I have the freedom right now of choosing every year what I'd like to do. So 1 year I'd write and then a book, and the next year I make two theatrical productions, and the year afterwards I'm standing on stage myself. It just depends on what you encounter along the way. The funny part is that it's always Bosnian people asking me, Nick, why on earth did you come to Bosnia-Herzegovina? Why did you come to Sarajevo? Because you come from Amsterdam. And I always have to explain them why. My first answer is always love, of course, because that was one of the biggest reasons. But the second is that I just feel at home, and I'm not very much interested in money and in status, etc. I just follow my soul and the feeling that I have at a certain location, and I connected with this country and with its people. So that's always the answer I give. When I draw a line, for example, between my own country of birth, because I always say that in my heart, I feel like this is my second country. The parallel is usually very simple. I think it is very much connected to the people, and there is a difference. So the difference would be, when I draw a parallel, is that, for example, I always give this example to, well, perhaps paint the picture. I don't want to generalize, but usually when you ring a doorbell at 5 o'clock at a Dutch home, people will open it up, the door, and they will say, we're eating. Would you please come back in 15 minutes or in 1 hour? And that's, as a Bosnian, I don't think I have to explain anything to you, because buyurun, and sit down, and have you eaten, and what do you and that's the real difference. And I think that's something you feel. Working in the theater, you instantly feel if something is real, if someone is making it up or faking it, and you really feel that it comes from people's their heart and soul, their hospitality and their openness is not something it's not something they can fake. And when it comes to my home country, there is this tendency, especially the last 30 years, in losing a lot of spirituality. So it's only concentrated on and focused on materialism, on buying houses, working 7 days a week. You have to, because the prices are going through the roof. And here you experience, Rahatlook. I think that's the best term for it. And that was one term which I really connected with, and I think that expresses it all. If you want to meet a friend in Hollandia, you have to make an appointment 4 weeks in advance. Like you call them, and it's going to be on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock from 2 to. There's even like this time slot, like it's from 1 to 2 or whatever. And here's like you pick up the phone at Jesse. That's it. And somebody shows up like an hour later, nema problema. You just take the time for it. And I think that's also a huge difference, taking the time for friends and people in general. And I have a lot of Bosnian friends who are young and who would like to go abroad. And usually they think, and they say to me, and that's quite true, of course, they say, yeah, you earn a lot of money there. And I say, yeah, but do you know how much money you spend there? So if you look at just like you said, if you look at the standard, exactly, in general, in Holland, I think that sums it all up. You only live to work. That's it. When it comes to good food, for example, it's not affordable for the majority of the people. If you have like 3 children or 2 children and you want to have healthy food, it's just not possible because the prices are just, it's too much. I just simply do not like that. I think that we were made for more in life in general, not only to work and to, in order to have a house and a car.
Šta bi ti poručio mladima i ljudima koji misle da je trava tamo negdje zelenija?
I always ask them, if you would have been paid a proper salary here, would you go or stay? As always, we stay. Deep down below, people don't want to leave, but they have to, or being forced because they are not supported or because they cannot earn any money or whatever. So usually I just ask them this question in order to hopefully open their eyes, and always ask them, would you please come back? So of course I understand that you have to develop yourself abroad. When it comes to the arts, go to a faculty in Amsterdam, and it's fantastic, but please come back because people need you here. And I think after 1 year you will really miss the mountains and the Rahatlook and the people and your home country. And by the way, it usually happens a lot. I have a lot of acquaintances and friends who spend their years abroad for 20 years or 15 years, but they suffer deep down below, and then they always come back. And a lot of them are a little bit afraid because they have wartime memories or whatever. But in the end, I think we're like reaching a point in which a lot of people start to return slowly, and diaspora people from Sarajevo or wherever, all over the place. So, and I think that will happen to youngsters as well. They go abroad, they study, but in the end, there's always this magnet, almost like in your heart, that's pulling you back. And well, when you're young, you think like, okay, I want to put it all aside. That works for 15 years, and then it will return to you. It will come back. This was the question I always asked them, like, if you would have had like a normal salary here, would you stay? That was one question. And also look around, because this could be the new Monte Carlo. If you have all the opportunities to do whatever you want. When it comes to eco-tourism, for example, solar panels, just like scratch a little bit of the surface and you're already there. And with all due respect, but in front of me here are sitting 2 bright, intelligent young people who also made a huge effort themselves. And they weren't waiting for Big Daddy to come along. They made their own business themselves. So Kappa for that one. So it is possible, but you have to make an effort for it. And I think that's also something I think the majority of youngsters are waiting for someone to help them. But Big Daddy is not coming to help. You have to do it yourself, and you have to get over that mentality. I think it has to come from your own spirit, from your own soul, and then things are definitely possible, because there are so many people who want to invest in this country. A lot of diaspora want to spend their money on people doing great things, building restaurants, building hotels, whatever. Yeah.
Kada želite pokloniti više od poklona, Rahatlook set za kahvu donosi duh tradicije u moderno doba. Dostava širom Evrope. Naručite sada putem www.rahatlook.shop.
People have fears. Those people, the Bosnian people who live abroad, they want to come back, but they have many obstacles.
Yeah.
Many of them say corruption, healthcare system, bureaucracy, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And so on. How do you tackle that?
I don't want to lecture people, but I think if it comes from my own experience, I would say that it's very important that first of all you put off your your glasses, your Dutch glasses, like the glasses you look through. Is that the proper expression? So first of all, set aside your Western expectations. I think that would be the first one, because then you really connect with the country itself. Yes, there is corruption, but mind you, we also have a lot of corruption in Hollandia, but it wears a tie. It looks a little bit better. They're very good in window dressing. Here people boast about it, yes, but in Hollandia it's like, and they do it. Not to say that Holland is a corrupt country, druga priča. Ali, I think first of all you have to set that aside, your expectations when it comes to bureaucracy, etc., and start to reconnect with your family and friends, and then try to first go along with it. I know it takes a lot of time to register your zemlja if you buy some, but just go for it, and don't think too much about all the obstacles, because that will, in a way, keep you locked in your trauma. I think that's it, and you shouldn't do that. It's because I think you can have a wonderful life as diaspora as well. Buy stuff, spend beautiful time here, invest in the country, find the right people. When we talk about corruption, yes, but there are also a lot of very good people. And you have to take time, you have to give yourself, I think, the present of taking time in order to invest in yourself. I think it's also an investment in yourself, and then you will find, you will attract the right people, and then you will manage to bypass corruption, etc. It's very well possible, and but you first have to lay aside your expectations, because I think that's what makes people give up, because they expect things and then they see that it just doesn't work like that. But give it a break. This is a country who is just like, what is it, 30 years in November that we had the Dayton peace agreement, but we had the agreement signed, so it's only 30 years. Hollandia hasn't experienced the war in the last 80 years, so this country is still rebuilding, and still has all sorts of issues, and you should really you should take that one into account. And
sure. Do you see opportunities here?
Yes. Only opportunities surrounding me everywhere I go. Just to get ecotourism, it could be booming. Culture. A lot of Bosnians are very proud, and rightly so, of their age-old traditions and culture. And I think you could use that much more when it comes to theater, when it comes to dance, when it comes to singing, and to promote that. A lot of Bosnians, by the way, are already doing that. Damir Mamovic, for example, with Sevdah, Amira Medunahin, Selma Alispahic, one of the best actresses I've ever met, working for Sartre, working abroad. So people are making an effort for it, but I think there are so many opportunities there in that respect to almost have a franchise concept of Bosnian culture abroad. Let's bring that. So there are, and when it comes to food and beverage, when it comes to cuisine, when it comes to hotel holidays, and not only during the summer, but also during the winter. We have Olympic mountains. Come on, so I think those are big and huge opportunities. And also when it comes to environment, like working with solar panel systems, etc., etc. Yeah, you don't earn a lot of money when you work in the theater, so it's really a calling. Once again, I don't want to sound cheesy, but so for me it's very simple. I don't earn that much, but it's enough for me to have a beautiful life, and to have my coffee, and to have a dulum, and a vikendica, and to give you an example. And I think people should just take that leap, because if they're diaspora, the standard of living here is of course completely different than what you would have in Hollandia. So your money is much more worth here than it is in Holland. So that would be one incentive for diaspora to come over. When they come from Hollandia, they have two passports. So what's the problem? You can have a fantastic time here. And also when it comes to businesses, I think Bosnia is very much open also to businesses and people spending their money here when it comes to ICT, social, new media, etc., etc. And I see that happening a lot. I'm talking about my personal space and the acquaintances and my working spaces, etc. They try to reconnect, but it's very difficult when you live in that system to step out or to take the helicopter view and to see what's happening there. And I think that Bosnia, especially because this is a country which is soul to me, can help you achieve that. So it helps you to step out of that Walt Disney World of the Western Hemisphere in order to reflect upon what's happening there, and in order for you to reconnect with your spirituality. And I think so not only for because most Bosnians would understand that, but especially also for people who were born in Amsterdam and raised in Germany and raised in Luxembourg, raised in England, etc., to reconnect with that one. I think that would make you, in general, it would make people more happy. I think that would be my core message. And what I really like to have Bosnians copy from Hollandia is the entrepreneurship spirit, because Dutch are very good at it. But it has to be taman, so not too much and not too little.
Taman. How do you
just to keep it taman.
Explain the words taman?
You just simply cannot. Just like Rahatlook, there's no translation for it. It's a chafe. Ništa.
Yeah, great. Kako je nastala tvoja knjiga Looking for Esmir?
There was this story which was really connected to me personally, because I had a friend from Hollandia, Hollandianine, who made a photo of a friend of his, Esmir Mujcic. And Esmir was a very young guy who lived in Srebrenica during the war. And my friend from Hollandia was a soldier, former soldier, but he only experienced Srebrenica in 1994. So he wasn't like present when the city fell. He wasn't present during the genocide, but it was the year before, 1994. And he made this beautiful picture of Esmir standing in front of where he used to work, Serge. And it's like a portrait photo, and of a young guy who smiles into the camera. And I was just mesmerized by that photo, because how on earth would you be able to smile? What was behind that smile? And that was what triggered me artistically, but also emotionally. Like, what is this story? What is it all about? And Serge asked me to help him give back this photo to his mother. And I'm expressing me not correctly. It's not giving back, but to find his mother. To start finding the mother of Esmir, in order, we didn't know she was still alive, in order to give her this photo. Because of course everything was destroyed during the war, burned. They did not only want to kill the people, but also destroy the very memory of the people itself. So we searched for her. So looking for Esmir is also looking for his mother. We found her, Mama Zlata, and we were able to give her back this photograph. And it was the only photograph she ever had of Esmir, because so she saw him after 25 years, because this is 5 years ago that we found her. So she saw her young boy after, 25 years. Prvi put. And we also had a small recording of his voice, because Serge also had like this small tape recorder, and he used to, because they had this gang in front of the gate where he would like record them, say something to Hollandia. Well, Esmir did. So we had a photo and a piece of his voice.
How did she react?
It was a very emotional day for us all, because I wasn't even there. What was I? 13 years I was living in Hollandia, but you are being connected 25 years later. So you're also, in a way, it also gets under your skin. That became family, yeah. It was highly emotional, and but we didn't give Mama Zlata the material instantly. We called her and we said, sorry, there's this crazy guy from Hollandia who is writing a book, and we found some material, and could we give that to you? And she said, okay, come over. And we did, but we only did one thing. We put all the photo material we had and the voice on a USB, and we gave that to her. So we didn't hand it over to her. We said, like, this is for you, and you just watch it whenever you want to watch it. Because for me, as a human being, not only as an artist or as a writer, but for me, that is something which I found not to be present, which is not my place to be present at a certain, when she would like open that up, because it's something I cannot even describe. And there were a couple of people from news media outlets, especially from Hollandia, who said, we want to be present, and quote, I will be the fly on the wall. And we said, no, we don't want anyone present. No, novina ništa. Even I, nor the people involved, don't want to be present at that moment. That's something so personal, I cannot even imagine, as a human being, what that must have meant. Of course, she saw it. So I never experienced her reaction to that, but we instantly became family. So we were crying. We just couldn't stop crying when we first met each other. And I'm still in contact with Esmir's half-brother, Zudin, who right now lives in France. So yes, it became family. And then at a certain moment we said, like, we want to tell this story to the world because it is a story which is written from the perspective of young people, not from old people, because the stories in the book are more like a collage of memories, not only about the war, but especially also before the war, because it was a beautiful city and people had first laughs and first beautiful summers and beautiful work. And we, in a way, wanted to rehumanize instead of as a fight against this dehumanization. Like, because in Hollandia, the only thing you know about Bosnian people is Srebrenica. It's only that. And we right now turn it into a theatrical production with young actors and actresses in order to reach more people. Yeah. The emotions of not only the people of Srebrenica, but the emotions of Bosnians in general are being misused. And I don't like that, and I fight against that. And so I don't want anyone present when people share the most inner feelings. It's even as a human, what I said, apart from being an artist or whatever, as a human being, I just cannot even fathom what happens when you see the image and hear the voice of your son, whom you haven't seen for 25 years, and it was brutally slain in a genocide. And then all of a sudden it's there. It's something you take your moment for. It's not my place to be there. Not my place. Not my place, spiritually speaking.
Exactly.
Kako je prošla premijera predstave?
For me personally, the premiere was really like one of the most difficult things I ever did in my entire life until now, because the people who are in the book were sitting behind me, and I usually don't sit on the stage or in the auditorium when I have a premiere or whatever, because I'd like to keep a little bit of distance. But somebody put me in the front row, and the young actors are acting that story in front of you. Something happened in that auditorium which I just simply cannot explain. The stage and the auditorium became one, because people saw themselves on stage, and the actors felt that coming back to them in an energetic way, and it was deeply emotional, and there was a sort of catharsis because people were crying constantly, and after we finished they got a standing ovation. But then the actors go behind the panels, because we work with projections. We also work with archive material and Esmir, of course, but they went behind the projection panels, and the people were just not leaving, and they were just on stage, and they were a little bit like we were all in a bubble. We didn't know what to say, we didn't know what to express. So in the end, it's a weird word to use, but it was a huge success. But I don't like the word. I hope I explained right now that by success I mean that it communicated with the audience in the way I wanted it. And I think it's the only way forward, because we should. Because if we don't, people will die, just like the Second World War. People are old, getting old, and some of them are young, of course. We have people in their 40s, 30s, but the majority of them are older and older. And when they die, who's going to tell the story? And the majority, and we also have a very big problem, which is which I think movies and theater can break through. And this is this wall of the language, which is a brick wall, but which also prohibits us from connecting with people abroad. Because in Hollandia, people will not know what a nishan is, for example. You have to explain that to them. You have to tell to the people in Hollandia what Sarajevo is, because they haven't been grown up in a city which has mountains. So in order for them to understand emotionally what it is to live 1425 days in a open-air prison with every moment a sniper bullet being targeted by, it's something they just simply cannot understand. And you cannot explain it in Boston. You have to do that with arts, with movies, and then you can like connect into the emotional language, and that's something everybody understands. So I think it's our task as artists to use that live experience or digital experience to connect people with what happened here. Not only negative, like in wartime, but also like what we've been discussing digitally with the beauty of the country. Even that's not known. So I have so many people, so many friends coming over saying like, I didn't know that Bosnia was so beautiful. My own mother, and right now when they come over, they spend like at least a month here or longer during their summer holidays. Because I remember quite vividly, we in 2015, when we were first holiday in Bosnia, we went to Kravice. the waterfalls of Kraft. And I bought this book, this tourist guide with the beautiful pictures, and I gave that to my mother. I said, Mama, you really should come over there and look. And my mother said, this is fake. I said, no, it's not. This is too beautiful to see. This is probably photoshopped or whatever. I said, Mama, it's really true. And until she saw it herself, and she's now one of the biggest ambassadors of Bosnia in Hollandia. Don't speak any bad word about Bosnia-Herzegovina, because my mother will
rip your throat.
Yeah, absolutely, and she did it on certain occasions. So also in our family, people saying, yeah, corrupt and blah blah. Hello, have you ever been there? No. What are you talking about? And my mom is a Krijtsa, and so you do not argue with that. And but that's when people see it themselves, then it starts to. Yeah, they have got to feel it. Yeah, especially that one. Yeah, okay. It was my homage. I think that's it, to the Bosnian people, because in Holland. Bosnians are one of the best integrated groups or refugees into society, apart from Iranians, if I'm correct. You never hear anything about them, so they never talk about their emotions, about what they've experienced, about nothing whatsoever. And we have 62,000 Bosnians in Hollandia right now, so it's a huge amount of people. I think they deserve to be seen as a very resilient people. It's not only about victimhood, because they are always like pushed into the victim role, like, yeah, you're the victims of the Bosnian. No, you're very resilient people. You had to flee. You came to Hollandia. You built a whole new life out of nothing. That's not something that a lot of Dutch people who were born in Hollandia will ever experience in their whole life. So a lot of Bosnians have already lived 3 lives and still they're standing. So it's about resilience. And I think people in the West should learn something about that. I received a letter of a young lady who was 16 at the time, and she worked for, or she helped Nusmir. Because Nusmir has an NGO in which he also works with youngsters and theater, and she helped Nusmir, one of the actors from Zenica, one of the professional actors, for the people who don't know who Nusmir is, and she told me, Nick, can we have a coffee? That was it first. So we had a coffee, and she said to me, I've read your book, and I want to thank you. And it's not about her thanking me, but she said, I was always very much afraid of Srebrenica. I never went there. I was always afraid of going over there. It's too big for me. I cannot connect with the emotion, with the topic. But by reading the book, I had the idea that I was present, that I walked the streets, that I saw the people, and it helped me to overcome my fear of going over to Srebrenica. Well, that was one of the biggest moments in my life in general, because this was a young lady telling me that if this is the only person I ever connect to, then I fulfilled my mission, because she did. And by the way, because of her reaction to my book, we turned it into a play with youngsters, because of her. So that's the reason that because she said to me, she told me 60 years, she said, will you never give up telling that story? And that really exploded in my soul. Sorry for it, I don't want to sound cheesy, but that's what it is. It's Bosnian, isn't it? And I thought, like, yeah. And she said to me, never stop telling those stories. And that's what pushed me to start making Trash as a stage production, because of her.
What are your plans for the future?
Oh, dobro pitanje. I am really right now, I think, very much into making a new predstav with actors I really love. We also have the luxury of having them as friends, Bosnian actors, by the way, and actresses. And to make a new predstav, I'm very much connected to the story of Gaza and Palestine. So I think that's one of the new, the things I really have to make. It just feels like that. And to continue telling, well, the stories we already have in our predstav. So Looking for Esmir, Traž Sesmira, One Way Ticket, which is my monodrama. I'm going to perform it right now in Hollandia. In August they have a festival, and in September we're in Amsterdam. So just to keep on sharing the story in the only way in which I know how to do, which is theater in this case. Yeah.